Morning YouTube. Suboxone withdrawal day 36. Yeah, today's day 36. I just wanted to make a video real quick. Just so y'all know, I've been a little despondent lately and kind of dysphoric. That's a normal part of the process. It's called post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Let me just talk about the symptoms of that really quick. First of all, starting on roughly it was around day 28, maybe day 29, I started feeling, a little depressed, and I was feeling anxious, and, it's been a rough couple of days. Anyway, if any of you know what PAWS is, post-acute withdrawal syndrome, one of the things that I've learned is that it's very hard to think in a very abstract manner. You have a hard time thinking clearly and processing information. You become very forgetful. I still had energy, but unfortunately what was happening is it was really hard to get the information to connect with my body. I mean, I knew what was going on in my head, but it was really hard for me to connect my body and my brain enough in such a way that I was able to get up and do something with the energy that I had. And again, this is just a normal part of the process. Your brain is trying to heal. We've done a lot of damage. We haven't just done damage to our bodies. When we quit taking the pain medication, our brains forget how to make dopamine on their own. And in the beginning, you're full of adrenaline. You're full of everything except for dopamine, which is what makes us happy. And it does come back. I mean, over time, like I said in the very beginning, during the acute stage of withdrawals, we go through feelings. I kind of talked about it this morning with Jason, and the way that I describe it is, almost like every day the volume gets turned up a little bit more. Things get a little bit louder, and you start seeing things with clarity. One of the things that's allowed me to get through this easier is the fact that I understood that there was going to be a process. Now, I wanted to believe that I was going to somehow be different and, escape that. But unfortunately, I kind of expected this. Today's a good day. In fact, yesterday was a really good day. I feel good. I'm feeling things that I haven't felt in a very long time. Everything looks brighter. When I was on the meds, I didn't realize how much I was actually missing. I didn't pay attention to things. The route that I take going for my walks, just as an example. I'd be walking around, but I wouldn't pay attention, to buildings that may have been in people's backyard, or the kind of cars that people owned, or, the flowers that they had sitting in their front yards, or the different kinds of trees. You don't pay attention to the little oddities or even the niceties in life. And again, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we are so suppressed. Everything about us. And it's not just your central nervous system, but it's your entire brain. I mean, you're suppressed. You're suppressed emotionally. And I realize that it's not the way anybody should live. It's not. It's a very destructive place. It's one of the reasons that I was so desperate to get off the medication. I knew that what I was feeling while on the medication was so far from the reality that I should have been feeling. And I think that was one of the driving forces that made me, say, what, enough is enough. I mean, look, even if my insurance had not changed, even if all of those unfortunate things had not taken place, I would have stopped. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of living my life flatlined. That's how I felt, flatlined. Like I had completely missed the memo. I wake up every day. I'm still waking up a little bit early in the morning. I do go to bed very early at night. I do that on purpose because I know that if I don't, I'm still going to wake up at a certain time in the mornings. But guys, this is a normal part of the process. Don't allow your fear to discourage you from, doing what's necessary in order to achieve a higher function of living. I mean, the way that I was functioning, was so basic, and it was not enough. It is not the way humans were intended or designed to live. I wasn't able to feel things for people the way that I should have been. There was a complete and utter disconnect. I don't know if you guys know about electricity and how all of that works. In every breaker box where all of the electrical in your house is tied into, there is something in there called an arc fault. Basically, when there's a surge of electricity that runs through that circuit, the arc fault will actually break the connection, which is what trips the breaker and stops the flow of electricity. When I describe this, I describe the pain medication as being the arc fault in my brain. It was literally stopping the chemicals from reaching a height, like a place where I was feeling things the way that I was supposed to feel it. There's so much more, and we forget. There was a part of me that understood, because I could remember 13 months ago. I can remember being funny and laughing and cutting up and, just not feeling bogged down. It's almost like you're sitting in traffic and you're in a traffic jam, you're going to sit there for hours and hours, but it's a terrible place to be. In January, when I came off this, it was like my system memory dump. I got the blue screen, but it was technically in my brain. But guys, look, the goal is to get better. Today is 36 days that I've been off this medication, and the difference between day 1 compared to day now 36 is so different, and it's worth it. It is so worth it. I will never go back. I don't ever want to go back. I hurt a lot of people while I was on the medication. Not intentionally, but you do things, unintentionally. I've always said that, a lot of roads that are paved with good intentions lead straight to hell. And that's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be functional. I want to be a member of society. I wanted to be able to get a job. I could not have worked in the condition that I was in. I was so up and down and all over the place. When I talk about feelings, what I felt was a lot of anger. What I felt was a lot of discontentment and despair. And it just wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. There was nothing normal about it. It was evil. That's how it felt. I felt like I was constantly consumed by darkness. And I feel free today. Again, today's day 36. I went through PAWS for a few days. It kind of comes and goes, but you've got to expect this and understand that this is a normal part of the process. It is not by any means a permanent state of being. It's not. And if you can understand that, then you can just allow yourself to go through it, and you'll get through it. Look, even in the PAWS, my worst day in PAWS, or my best day in PAWS, my worst day in PAWS was, nothing compared to any of the days in the acute stage. It was hard going through that. But, again, the goal is to get past that. Now, I don't know why it is the way that it is, but normally, PAWS will hit you 30, 60, 90, 120. And that's just, it's just basic science. It's what people, doctors, addiction specialists have observed in countless people over and over and over again. So anyway, it's still worth it. There's no reason to go back. I like life. I like feeling this way. I like having emotional responses to, the trees blowing in the breeze, or the sun coming up in the morning, and the smells that, you never paid attention to while you were on the meds. Every piece of life around me, I am connected to at this point, and it's an amazing feeling, and I want that for all of you. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to touch base and let you know what I was going through. I have not gone back to the meds. I have no intention of going back to the meds, and I do plan on continuing to make more videos. Guys, look, at the end of the day, God is who got my heart. He's the one that took control of this entire situation. I haven't really talked about this in my earlier videos, but, I was collapsing under the weight of my own emotional it was just a terrible place to be. My emotions were crushing me. And on the 4th day, I was taking a shower, and I was praying. I was scared. I felt terrible, and you just want to be comforted. And I was sobbing I was just sobbing like a little kid. And God gave me His hand, and I had a choice in that moment. Take His hand and let Him lead me to a better place, or live in the misery. And I didn't want to live in the misery. And He took every bit of the anger. He took all of it away from me. I'm not telling you guys to believe in God. I'm not telling you what to do. But I am going to tell you this. 28 years I felt bogged down with that misery. And He took it, all of it, away from me in that moment. Now, He didn't say that there weren't going to still be consequences. I was still going to have to go through the withdrawals. And I accepted that. I accepted the fact that PAWS was a part of this. But He has really given me the strength and the courage to overcome this addiction that has been at the forefront of my life for the last 28 years. So that's just my story. I'd like to make a video about how all of this started for me. And it wasn't just the pain. When I talk about pain, oftentimes, I talk about the physical pain that I was in. But there was a lot of emotional pain. There was a lot of damage and a lot of hurt that I had never, ever dealt with, that I had not faced. And the biggest part of that was facing myself and my participation in that chaos. How much did I actually cause for my own self? And that's where, accepting responsibility was key in a lot of this. So anyway, I'm still alive. I'm still here. I love you all. And I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged that this is not permanent. This is not permanent. You guys can have the same freedom, and you will, but you've got to stick it through. You've got to remember that all of this is just temporary. Today's day 36, Suboxone withdrawal, and I'm praying for each and every one of you. Y'all have a great day.